Hey there, my name is Heidi. I recruit product managers, and today we're doing another rapid resume review. And I'm excited for you to meet my new friend, Colin Moore. Colin, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Hey, my name is Colin Moore. I'm a software delivery professional. I've been in the industry about 20 years. I love driving value and improving teams over time. I'm an Agile expert, so I love taking Agile principles and practices and helping teams grow and better themselves.
Okay, so we're going to dive in now and talk through Colin's resume and some ideas of how to reimagine it to really create an effective resume that will resonate with the persona of leader who he is sort of trying to capture the attention of. We're also going to include Colin's LinkedIn link if you want to connect with him either about an opportunity or just about business. And we look forward to hearing your feedback about this rapid resume review. Here we go. All right, so let's talk first about what I like about Colin's resume. First of all, I like the fact that the majority of his content is bullet pointed because people don't typically read resumes. They scan them very, very quickly, often in groups of resumes while they have time, looking for the one or two or maybe three people who they're going to contact to have an actual conversation with to get deeper. So it's really important that as we're laying out content on a resume, it is in really curated bite-sized chunks that helps the reader of the resume to really understand how you might align to the search for which they are recruiting for, whether that they is a internal recruiter, a talent acquisition team person, or a hiring stakeholder, someone who maybe doesn't have an internal team but is themselves seeking to hire someone for their organization, or a third party recruiter like what we do. um, so, although Colin writes his resume in bullet points, there are a few things that I really want to point out that would help to really curate and remove maybe some of the extra clutter that does exist on this resume. First of all, because we're in a post-COVID time, I'm not convinced that it's helpful to necessarily add locations of every company that you've worked for because it's just less impactful because today more and more companies are willing to have remote teams, and we're never going to like it's really not going to add any value, and it just adds extra stuff on the page which could be cleaner if it wasn't included. The exception, of course, being situations where maybe like this, you've had a really cool opportunity to work on an international assignment, as clearly he did for 1 year of his career, where you are maybe an expat somewhere. That is cool to mention because it just adds kind of some discussion point and kind of gives some perspective on who you are and what you the experiences you value. But generally speaking, we don't need to have name of location of employer on a resume. So I would say that generally needs to come out. The other thing to point out is I want to sort of talk about this section right here. I've mentioned this before. These types of large profile sections really take away what is the more meaningful content from the prime real estate area of a resume. The more we could curate this, the better. Areas like competencies are often just keyword or skill sections that are better used um, as part of your employment experience. So we don't need to say agile here, agile here, agile here. And then, by the way, guess what? We're talking about agile in everything. It's almost, do we not understand that that's what this person does? These words can just very easily be applied to the employment section, and that moves up the employment experience up, 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 up. This is quite long and requires reading. And look at this little word potential here. It's this one little word is taking up an entire line. I know this might sound really nitpicky to someone, but this stuff, you know, go big or go home. One word taking up an entire line can be perhaps curated. This could be curated so that this one little word pops up into the bigger paragraph, and then we've bought ourselves another line, which moves the content up. Now, the one thing that I happen to notice in how Colin talks about his most recent employment experience, I don't see any numbers. I don't see any context around how he delivered on what he was hired to deliver. So, if we're going to talk about building delivery teams, we need numbers. Is this one person, two people, or 30 people? Okay. Provided coaching, mentoring, management. How often? Like, was this a consistent sort of cadence, or was this ad hoc whenever we felt like it, or when there was a problem? If we're talking about conducted multiple small training sessions, did we do this once or twice or three times, or was this a quarterly event for an entire organization of like 40, 50 people? Let's get some numbers and context to give the reader the understanding of scope and scale. Okay. Then I want to talk about this piece here, his so one employer ago. This is a really long section, and if I really dig closely, I'm noticing items that actually belong on a job description more than they belong on a resume, because they're kind of they're applicable to anyone and everyone, not they're not specific to outcomes. So migrated Jira from a server to a cloud-based solution. Um, Escalated impediments. That's a bit more job description-y than it is outcome and accomplishments. We always want to be careful that we are leading with outcomes and accomplishments, because that's what separates someone like Colin from all of the other candidates who are also escalating impediments. So, and we want to think about, okay, on a hierarchy of the greatest value that you provide as an agile coach, where does this escalating impediments fit in? Right? So we can ask ourselves these things. Okay? Um so we want to be really outcome focused. We want to curate and make sure that we're talking about how we added a difference. And then at some point on our resumes, we also want to start taking stuff off, because there comes a point where this is not who you are anymore. It's going way back, playback, and this isn't who you are. And if we need space on a resume, LinkedIn might have everything on it, but a resume really needs to be curated. The amount of page space that we um, might give something that's pre 2015, we might not want to have this much page space, really. Like, I mean, that's like half of the last page. We might not dedicate this much page space to something because it's not even who we are, or it's going really far back. Okay. If you want to connect with Colin, we're going to include his LinkedIn link here. We hope that you connect with him if there's an opportunity that you think might be a fit for him. And or if you just want to talk agile software delivery, he might be open to a conversation with you about that. I hope this was helpful to someone out there. Send some love if you think this was helpful to you. Drop me a note, and I look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you on the next video.